$10,000 in purchases: clothes, groceries, a laptop, a flight home for the holidays. Nothing reckless, nothing unusual. The cardholder makes the minimum payment every month, the number printed in bold at the top of the statement. Never misses, never late. Does exactly what the paper tells them to do. Total amount repaid by the time the balance reaches zero: $121,599. That is not a typo. It is not an edge case. It is the arithmetic of a product performing exactly as designed. The purchases cost $10,000. The obedience cost $111,000 more. And the person who paid it never broke a rule. They never missed a deadline. They followed the one instruction the statement made effortless to follow. And that instruction, month after month, directed nearly every dollar they sent toward interest and almost nothing toward the debt itself. On a $200 minimum payment, $183 goes to interest. $16.67 goes to principal. The balance barely moves. The payments never stop. And somewhere inside a financial system worth $1,277 billion, that account is performing beautifully. That $1,277 billion is not a metaphor. It is the total revolving credit card debt held by American consumers as of late 2025, a record since tracking began in 1999. 46% of cardholders carry a balance from month to month. The average balance among them, $7,886. And 1 in 9 active accounts pays only the minimum. That's over 65 million accounts, each one feeding the same quiet arithmetic. Delinquency rates have more than doubled since the pandemic low, from 1.57% to over 3.5%. 12% of accounts carrying a balance are 90 or more days past due. The system isn't just extracting from people who can afford it. It's extracting from people who are already falling behind. And the minimum payment is the instrument that keeps them current just long enough to keep them paying. The reason the minimum payment works so well is not because people are careless. It's because the human brain was never built to calculate compound interest. There's a cognitive phenomenon researchers call exponential growth bias, a consistent tendency to underestimate how quickly compounding effects accumulate. It's not ignorance, it's architecture. The brain processes linear change intuitively and nonlinear change almost not at all. So when a cardholder sees a $7,886 balance and a $223 minimum payment, the mental estimate is simple. Divide the balance by the payment, roughly 35 months, maybe 3 years. That feels manageable. That feels temporary. But the actual timeline at 22% APR is 23 years. The total paid is $21,277. The error between the intuitive estimate and the mathematical reality is not a small rounding gap. It's 2 decades. This is the space the product lives in, the gap between what the brain predicts and what the math produces. And it's not a gap that narrows with attention. Looking at the statement more carefully doesn't help, because the statement is designed to reinforce the wrong estimate. The minimum is displayed prominently. The number is clear. It feels like a floor, the least acceptable amount, but it functions as a ceiling. Studies on payment anchoring show that when a minimum payment is displayed, consumers pay less than they would if no number were shown at all. The minimum doesn't set a lower boundary for responsible behavior. It suppresses the instinct to pay more. It's like a thermostat set just warm enough that no one reaches for the dial. The room never gets uncomfortable, the temperature never triggers action, and the energy bill accumulates in a place no one checks. Not because it's hidden, but because nothing in the environment signals that anything is wrong. The credit card statement is not a neutral document. It is a piece of interface design with a specific commercial objective: to make the minimum payment the path of least resistance. The minimum is printed in large type. The total balance is nearby, but secondary. The line that discloses how long it will take to pay off the balance using only minimum payments, a disclosure required by federal law since the Card Act of 2009, sits lower on the page, in smaller text, in a format most consumers have never once read carefully. The law forced the information onto the page. It did not force anyone to look at it. In the years since, researchers found the disclosure had almost no sustained effect on payment behavior. The information was on the page. The product had already decided where the eye would land. This is not an accident of layout. In February 2026, Renaud Laplanche, the CEO of Upgrade, a $7.3 billion fintech company and the co-founder of Lending Club, described the credit card as, in his words, a financial product designed to keep people in debt for as long as possible. Not a tool misused by consumers, a product functioning as intended. And the mechanism is elegant in its simplicity. Revolving credit doesn't require the borrower to confront the total cost at any single point. A mortgage has a closing table. A car loan has a dealership negotiation. A credit card has a swipe, and then a statement that arrives 30 days later with a single number that feels like an answer. Pay this and everything is fine. The APR is disclosed. The balance is visible. The terms are technically available. But the product was designed around the understanding that visibility is not comprehension. The information is all there, in the same way that the nutritional label on a bag of chips is all there, present, compliant, and almost perfectly ineffective at changing behavior. The system doesn't hide. It doesn't need to. It simply counts on the gap between seeing and understanding. And that gap, across 65 million accounts, is worth $1,277 billion. Two people, same credit card, same balance, $7,886. Same APR, 22%. Same statement arrives on the same day. They diverge on a single decision. Person A pays the minimum, $223 the first month, declining each month as the balance inches downward. Person A never misses a payment. Person A does exactly what the statement's most visible number suggests. 23 years later, Person A has paid $21,277. Over $13,000 of that went to interest, money that purchased nothing, reduced nothing, built nothing. For 23 years, a portion of every paycheck disappeared into a debt that was already paid for. Person B pays $300 a month, $77 more than Person A's initial minimum, a difference roughly equal to 3 streaming subscriptions. In 37 months, Person B's balance reaches zero. Total paid, $10,860. The gap, $10,400 and 20 years. Not different people, not different incomes, not different levels of financial literacy. The same person in a parallel life making one different choice on one line of one statement. If the statement arrived and the first number that felt like an answer was the minimum, not the balance, not the APR, not the payoff timeline varied further down the page, then the product was already working. The interface did what it was built to do. It offered one clear, comfortable, instantly actionable number and let the brain do the rest. The credit card is the most normalized financial product in the world. It is also the only one where following the instructions, paying what the statement tells you to pay, is the single most expensive thing a borrower can do. The cardholder who paid $121,599 for $10,000 in purchases didn't make a mistake. They made every payment. They followed every prompt. They did what the system asked, in the amount the system suggested, on the schedule the system set. And the system worked perfectly. For 23 years, at 22%, one minimum at a time. Some losses aren't missed payments. They're made payments, made exactly as requested for exactly as long as the product needs. This is Costly Choices.